In this video, I'm going to go over problems 1 through 5 from your review, and then there will be a part 2 where I go over 6 through 10. Make sure you write this down and make sure your review has all the work shown for every problem. Alright, so number 1. Pablo typed 258 words in 6 minutes on NitroType. How many words did he type per minute? So first thing that I look for is a percent. If I have a percent, then that means I need to make a proportion that includes 100. Since I don't have one and they're not asking for one, I look at my units. So I have words and I have minutes. So I'm going to make my proportion. My units will be words over minutes. And then we're going to fill in what we know about words and minutes. Typically, they give it to you in the first sentence. 258 words in 6 minutes. So 258 will go on top. 6 will go on the bottom. And then my question says, how many words did he type per minute? Per means 1. So that means we're looking for how many for 1 minute. And we're looking for the word. So then you can see if there's a relationship. If there's none, you can simplify. Or you can just use bat and ball. If you like using bat and ball and you're good at using bat and ball, then stick to that method. I can see that 6 divided by 6 will give me 1. So I'm going to do 258 divided by 6. So 258 divided by 6. 6 cannot go into 2. 6 goes into 25 4 times. We get 24. 1 left. We bring down the 8. And 6 goes into 18 3 times. So my answer is 43. Now we need to bubble it in. So remember, anytime you have a whole number, your decimal is all the way at the end. If I put it in the front, that makes it 43 cents. If I put it in between, that makes it 4.3. It has to be 43. And then we write it and bubble it in. And then don't forget, you also need to bubble in whether it's a positive or a negative. So write it and then bubble it in. Alright, number 2. Clear Lake Honda sold 400 vehicles last year. 65% of those vehicles were SUVs. How many SUVs did they sell? So first thing, I look for a percent. We have 1, so that means we will be using our percent proportion, which includes the 100. So then right above the 100, I will include my percent, which is 65. And then from here, always look at what your percent represents. So if it says that 65% of those vehicles were SUVs, then that means the percent represents SUVs. So we're going to have SUV information on top, and then the total will go on the bottom. So then the other number is 400, and they're talking about vehicles. So if they sold 400 vehicles, that means that is the total number of vehicles they sold. And we're looking for just the part, which is SUVs. And then you can do bat and ball, relationship, simplify. Right away, I can see that I can multiply 100 by 4 to get 400. Notice how my arrows are pointing to my X. So then 100 times 4 is 400. So then I got to multiply 65 times 4. 5 times 4 is 20. Carry the 2. 4 times 6 is 24. Plus 2 is 26. So they sold 260 SUVs. And then just like before, my decimal will go all the way to the end. And then I bubble it in exactly how I see it. Don't forget about your sign. So 260. And then you do not need to bubble in those extra zeros. You can just leave it as is. Alright, number 3. On a map in Texas history class, 2 centimeters represents 45 kilometers. How many centimeters will represent 585 kilometers? So first thing, don't give us a percent. We're not looking for a percent, so we do not need a 100 here. So then we look at our units. We have centimeters and we have kilometers. So cm over km. And then we're going to put that information in. 2 centimeters, we got centimeters on top. 45 kilometers, we got 45 on the bottom. And then 585 will go with our kilometers, which is on the bottom. So we're looking for the top. Now, I do not see any relationship here. These numbers are way too big for me to know. So I'm just going to use bat and ball. Remember, my bat is where I can multiply my 2 numbers. So I'm going to do that right here. Step 1, my bat, 585 times 2. 2 times 5 is 10. Carry the 1. 2 times 8 is 16. Plus 1 is 17. 2 times 5 is 10. Plus 1, 11. But now, we need to divide that by our ball, which is the number that is all alone by itself, 45. So 1170 divided by 45. Notice how my x, we don't do nothing with it. We don't use it with bat and ball. 45 cannot go into 1. 45 cannot go into 11. But 45 can go into 117 2 times. And we get 90. 7 minus 0 is 7. 11 minus 9 is 2. And we bring down the 0. And I'm going to check to see how many times can 45 go into 270. I'm going to try 6. 5 times 6 is 30. Carry my 3. 6 times 4 is 24. Plus 3 is 27. So it goes in 6 times. So my answer would be A, 26 centimeters. Now, since you have answer choices here, and we were missing the numerator. The numerator we know cannot be bigger than the bottom number. So based off of that information, I can eliminate B because it'll be bigger than 585, and I can eliminate D. So now I have a 50-50 chance of getting this question right. Make sure you're looking at that. Look at answer choices to see if you can eliminate any. Alright, number 4. At the South Lake Animal Shelter, 40% of the animals are cats. If there are 24 cats, how many animals does the shelter have in all? So first thing, look for percents. I have one, so I need to do a percent proportion, which includes the 100. And then my percent will go above that. And then we look to see what that percent represents. If it says 40% of the animals are cats, that means my percent represents the cats. And then the bottom, we have the total. So then my other number, 24, represents cats, so that has to go on top where I have the cats. And we're looking for the number of animals in all. So we're looking for the total. Now I can do bat and ball, multiply 100 times 24, divide by 40, or I can simplify. Right away, I can see that I can simplify these by 10 because they end in zeros. 40 divided by 10 is 4. 100 divided by 10 is 10. So then I can go from 4 to 24 by multiplying by 6. So then 10 times 6 would be 60. Notice how after I simplify, I don't use those numbers because 40 over 100 is now 4 tenths. They are equivalent. Alright, number 5. How many inches are equivalent to 8.5 feet? We don't have percents. We don't need a percent proportion. and they only give us one number. That means we are converting. We're going from inches to feet. So I'm going to start with my units. And then remember, the middle part of my proportion is information that they give us. They don't give us any information, but we are converting, so we're going to use our chart. That is where we're going to get our information from. So we're looking for something with inches and feet, which is here. So 1 foot is going to go on the bottom, and that equals 12 inches, so 12 goes on top. And then we don't need this no more. 8.5 feet, my feet are on the bottom, so it goes here, and we're looking for the top. Now, I know I can multiply 1 times 8.5 to get 8.5, or you could just do bat and ball, which is the same thing. If we use bat and ball, that means we just multiply 12 times 8.5. 5 times 2 is 10, carry the 1. 5 times 1 is 5, plus 1 is 6. Cross those out, put our 0. 8 times 2 is 16, carry the 1. 8 times 1 is 8, plus 1 is 9. And we add, 0 plus 0 is 0. 6 plus 6 is 12, carry the 1. And 1 plus 9 is 10. And then we move our decimal. We can't forget about our decimal. And we get 102.0, which makes it easier for us to bubble in. 102. 102. And it's a positive. So that's the end of this video for part 1, 1 through 5.